Oh, you're a good girl, aren't you? Yeah, wow. What you doing, Morris? Now this little chap is one of the main reasons I need to cat-proof the yard. It's quite a sizable yard, so starting off I got myself some 4x2s. I don't have a truck, so I got the hardware store to cut all the 8-foot 4x2s in half so they'd fit in the back of my car. I borrowed a chop saw from my neighbour and then chopped all those pieces down to 2-foot lengths. Got myself some 4-inch deckmate screws. Initially I was going to use a line level and string, and then I just actually found it easier to eyeball it. Put the first couple up and then I'd jump up on the fence like this and be like, yeah, that's pretty much it. I borrowed a sawzall from my neighbour to do the corner posts, just to cut straight down, making a notch and then putting the post in. So the poultry netting has arrived. I got 2 rolls. They are each 1 inch by 36 inch by 150 feet, 20 gauge vinyl coated. They will go around the perimeter on top and slightly behind and slightly hanging over these posts. It's easier just to roll the whole thing out along the fence line and then come back and then just gently start positioning it up and over the posts. So I've been putting staples in 2 at a time on the palings that are on the inside and tucking, a few inches behind each post. Like anything, your technique gets better as you go along. So I've discovered what I prefer to do is pull the netting behind the posts and then at about 2.5-3 inches down, put the staples in and then on the post actually draw it taut that way, get up on the ladder and put the staples in up there. You find that wire cutters come in handy. Well, it definitely ain't pretty, but it's getting the job done. I'm getting there. This section's done and John's exploring. Not finished yet, so this is a heavily supervised walk in the backyard. Look at you go. There you go, beautiful. Been doing a bit of work today and already the amount of relief I have is palpable. That Mount Whip cannot jump up over these fences. Normally I'd be in high alert mode, especially with that squirrel up there playing silly buggers. But we're all good, aren't we, Mount Whip? Mount Whip. Beautiful girl. Are you being a silly bugger, squirrel? He is being a silly bugger, isn't he? Huh? And he's gone. This is already giving me a lot more relief. It's 90% done. Yeah, I see you looking at the netting and looking at the top of the fence, Mount Whip. This gate is a bit of a pain in the butt, to be honest. It's a pretty rough job to start with, and there's a nice big gap here. My best thinking is that I can do what I've done at the top and just put in some cut to size pieces here. So open the gate fully up to the extended position, staple them on and then close it, and we'll see how that goes. Well, there's the finished edge. It's as rough as guts, but hopefully it works. So I just pushed the netting in, gave it some staples, wrapped it around, kind of pushed it in, staple, 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 and hopefully now when we close it up it'll be okay. So that closes up really smoothly. Of course it bulges in a couple of areas. That's to be expected because of the nature of the game. I might clean it up later and make it look pretty. At the moment I just want to get the job done and nobody's going to see this except for me. So that left side's done. This other side doesn't need to be done. Just the nature of the way the fence is. I'd already put in a cutout privacy panel, so there are no little holes there. So the gate bits need to be attached to the gate and not to the fence. The gate needs to be freestanding, in other words, the posts on it. So my best guess is to shave a bit off this 2x4 and see if I can just nudge it in there and get it basically the same height as those. It might work, we'll see. Through a lot of trial and error, I've discovered that 28 degrees setting on the chop saw, which it's not on at the moment, but you can see where it is and you just move it. 28 degrees and then 3 inches on the ruler gives me what I need. I'll show you. To get these posts that are going to go on the fence to be at the right angle to line up with the rest of them, took a 23 degree cutout, and then along the bottom 90 degrees of course, and now they're short, so I need to go to the hardware store and get longer bits. Got my 4 bits of wood for the gate ready to go. I got 4 of these fasteners from a local hardware store. They're going to come in useful. Just position this and mark off some holes. So I put the metal guide thing on, a few deckmate screws, 1.5 inch into it, and then went round the other side and just eyeballed where this post was. Doesn't come up very well in the video, and putting screws in. Weirdly enough, this seems to be maybe one of the strongest parts of the fence, so it's working all right. So the first of the gate posts seems to be lining up, you know, moderately well with the peak of the others. Lining up this hinged bit is a major pain in the ass. A lot of weird angles, a lot of trial and error, because it needs to swivel off here. Well, I put together this fancy hinge contraption so that the idea being, when I want to open that right hand gate and the wire's up, I can just move that to the side, bunch the wire and open it, but I don't even know if I need it. These posts, excuse me, don't touch when you open the gate. This is the view of the gate from the inside. I can always open up this part of it. In fact, I can open up both sides, but I just used the right side. I just bunched the poultry wire up like that, and when I want to open up the gate, I'll just pull it down, push that to the side, and then I can open up this gate and that one if I want to. Where this part of netting meets the side of the house, I really had to jerry-rig, you know, a little bit of 2x4ing in there, and then one off here, use a Tapcon drill bit, drill through there, Tapcon bolt, couple of washers, netting behind it, and that's as solid as a rock. I'll clean this bit up later, just chop it through there. This other side of the house has a windowsill there, which Mal Whip can jump up on, and potentially I thought that was an escape point, so I've just left the poultry wire up there quite high. Pretty ugly. I might even just spray paint it white so it camouflages against the house. All of the posts peak at a little over 6 feet off the ground, and some of the bits of poultry netting were sagging, you know, so I got some raspberry canes and just put them under, and at about 3/4 of the way down, threaded them in and pushed them down the back behind that post, and that seems to be, you know, doing the job. Definitely ain't the prettiest thing in the world, but it's working, it's doing its job. The cat fence is done, so the crew now have 24/7 access to the backyard. No bells or whistles, it's done. What do you think, Fluff? You having a good time, buddy? Mal Whip! These guys are loving it. Everybody's loving it. Hey folks, I hope you found something useful in that video. Honestly, there's not a whole bunch in it that you can't find on other great videos on YouTube. There are a few pros and cons. I wouldn't want to do this job again by myself. Much easier with 2 people. very difficult to manipulate poultry wire at those kinds of lengths and do it by yourself. Also, I might even not use poultry wire next time. I might even use the plastic kind of stuff. It seems to be a bit easier to handle and would probably do the same job. It's good that it came in at just a shade under $500, which is a significant chunk of change, but when you consider the angst that you get when your cats are outside and the potential of an emergency room visit, that's $500 well spent, I think. It's ugly. It really is. Who are we kidding? It's ugly. My neighbors have been great in reassuring me that they really don't care. And maybe in about 6 months' time, when the cats have learned that they can't jump over the fence, I'll actually lower all those posts down to 90 degrees so that the neighbors won't even see them. Maybe they would have been good at 90 degrees anyway. So anyway, my hope is that you got maybe a couple of hints or tips or something, or it sparked something in your imagination watching this video, and that you can do a better job than me on your own property. And I welcome critical feedback. So shove it in the comments below, put in, anything and everything that's useful, so that we can help the community, and just say, you should have done it like this, or how about you do it like that next time, whatever, whatever makes it good. Not interested in subscribes and likes. I couldn't care less, so I'm not going to ask you to subscribe and like. Just, look after your cats and love them.